Hello, my name is Mr. Karl. I'm the children's librarian at the Van Buren Library, and I'm very excited to read a story with you today. This is called Spork by Maclear and Isabelle Arsenault. Now, I'm sure we all know what these two items are. I have a spoon in my left hand and a fork in my right hand. A spork is a very unique type of utensil. A spork is what happens when you take the two and you combine them together. Now we're going to find out a little bit more about our main character, who is a spork, and how he fits into the world, and how, even though he's different from all the spoons and forks and knives in the book, he still finds a way to celebrate his uniqueness. Spork was neither spoon nor fork, but a bit of both. If you take a look at Spork, you can see he's got the round edges like a spoon, but he's also got the prongs like a fork. He had a mom and a dad, so it looks like his mom's a spoon and his dad's a fork. And his mom and dad both taught him that he was perfect just the way he was. But Spork stuck out. You see on this page, it looks like he's the only spork in his neighborhood. There's a bunch of forks and there's a bunch of spoons, but no other sporks. So think about how Spork might be feeling. Maybe he feels a little insecure that he's different from everybody else. In his kitchen, forks were forks and spoons were spoons. Cutlery customs were followed closely. Mixing was uncommon. Naturally, there were rule breakers. There were knives who loved chopsticks, and tongs who married forks. But such families were unusual. So, for the most part, we see in this world, all the spoons are together, the forks are together. There's not a lot of mixing between the two different groups. There's Spork looking at a toaster oven. He sees his reflection. One day, after the billionth time, he was asked, "What are you anyway?" And the zillionth time, he was passed over when the table was being set. Spork sighed and thought, it must be easier to be a single thing. And he decided he'd try to pick just one thing to be. Now, maybe some of us are asked that sometimes, what are you? And that can be a really hard and uncomfortable question to answer. And it seems like Spork has a lot of trouble answering that question too. So he's going to try to be either just a fork or a spoon. But let's see if that works out for him. He thought he should start by fixing his head. So he put on a bowler hat to look more spoonish. But the forks thought he was too round. And if you see in this picture, his hat is covering up those tongs on the fork. So he's trying to look just like another spoon. But it seems like the forks, they're not having it. They're like, nah, we know that you're not really one of us. And the spoons they're looking at him too, like, what's going on with that guy? Then he made a paper crown to look more forkish. But the spoons thought he was too pointy. Let's go back and look at the spoon's reaction again. They're saying way too spiky to be a fork. We know the real deal with this guy. Spork wondered if there were other lonely creatures out there with no matching kind who never got to be chosen at the table. At dinner time, he watched from the drawer while the spoons played pea hockey and skillfully balanced boiled eggs. He sat off to the side while the forks raked fancy patterns in the mashed potatoes and twirled noodles around in complicated circles like rhythmic gymnasts. And at the end of this, and every other meal, Spork looked on while the others enjoyed a super bubbly bath in the sink. Think about how Spork might be feeling right now. He never gets chosen to be one of the utensils at the dinner table. I don't think that makes him feel very good. Until one morning, a messy thing arrived. This messy thing had obviously never heard of cutlery, customs, or table manners. No, this messy thing smeared and spilled and flung and clumped and dripped without a care. So let's look at this messy thing again. I see a fish, a banana, it looks like a tomato, and it looks like a giant mess, whatever it is. Wait, said the forks, but the messy thing did not wait. Careful, said the spoons, but the messy thing was not careful. Help, said the forks, while the messy thing continued to slop and splatter. Quick, said the spoons. Now, a fork may be good for poking and picking, and a spoon may be fine for scooping and stirring. We know that we use our utensils for very different things, right? Like last night, I was eating a bowl of ice cream. I used my spoon because it's very good to scoop it up. But when I'm eating a salad and I can't scoop up a piece of lettuce with a spoon, I need a fork to really poke in there. But this messy thing with its slurpy and clumpy, half-finished food bits needed something else. Something that could do all sorts of things at once. Something flexible and easy to hold. Something that was neither spoon nor fork, but a bit of both. And I think Spork I think he's got his chance right here. Like, this is just what he's been waiting for. That's when Spork landed. The messy thing saw Spork and immediately stopped and gurgled. So let's see if Spork can clean up this pile of slop. It grabbed Spork and held him motionless in its fist. It tapped him once and let out a cheerful shriek. It wagged Spork excitedly up and down. And that's how Spork finally and happily found his way to the table. And look, Spork is being used for his purpose right now. He looks pretty happy. And so does the baby that's holding him. Just a bit round, just a bit pointy, just right. Okay? So that was our story about Spork, and we found that even though Spork was different from all the other utensils, he still had a time where he really was the superior utensil, and he was perfect for the situation that came up. I think Spork learned to accept that even though he's different, he's still very proud of who he is, and that he doesn't have to try to be like the other spoons and the other forks. And I think that we can apply that to our own lives. If somebody asks, "What are you?" we can just say, "I'm just me, and I'm unique, and I don't have to try to be like anyone else or to fit into any of the categories you want me to be a part of. I can be my own category, and that's what makes me unique, and that's what makes the world an interesting place." So I hope you enjoyed the story about Spork, and I will see you again real soon with another story time. Be safe, be happy, and be well. Bye-bye.